Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with the DRF race of the day for Friday, December the 30th. It's race number 7 at Aqueduct, the $135,000 Gravesend Stakes going 3/4 of a mile. Let's take a peek at this field. Please scan the QR code for race of the day access on your mobile devices. We're expecting some scratches in here. There's been a lot of frigid weather in the Mid-Atlantic region and on the East Coast over the past week, and a lot of these trainers have had a whale of a time just getting training time on the tracks in the mornings and have cross-entered several of these horses in other spots. As of right now, we're expecting Repo Rocks and Twisted Ride to withdraw from the Gravesend, with Barron being considered a doubtful. That could affect the pace of this race. So as we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, I want to remind you to please visit timeformus.com once scratches for this race are made official. This pace projector could change drastically, and that red bar fast pace scenario might disappear. It might be a completely different scenario after scratches. The 11 Little Vic is expected to make the lead in the Gravesend. I'm not sure if that's going to be the instructions, however. I talked to his trainer after Little Vic won at Laurel last time out from off of the pace, and his trainer told me the instructions that day were to take back and save something for the end. Little Vic has won from on the lead in the past. It's nice to have that versatility in his hip pocket. He shouldn't be too far out of it when the real racing begins, but whether he'll be quarter horsed out there for the lead is a different story. I do think the two Bezos is going to be close to the pace. Amundsen, Smooth B, these are horses that should be up close as well. It may not be a blazing pace, but it should be fair, and that would help a horse like the number 1 3-2 Zone, who we have not seen since he was in a little bit tough, I would say, in the Grade 1 4-go at Saratoga. That day he faced Cody's Wish, who of course went on to win the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and the 4-go runner-up Jackie's Warrior was one of the top sprinters in North America over the last few years. 3-2 Zone was in over his head in that race, but his prior starts showed a lot of promise for trainer Ray Handel. He ran a triple-digit Beyer speed figure 4 starts back, a number that would put him in very good stead against this group. He'll have to work out a trip from the inside post, but he was in very good form before the 4-go. He was given time to recover from that effort. He'll have to work out a trip from the inside post, but he's not out of it in a field where many of these horses have beaten each other and just have taken turns. Perhaps it's 3-2 Zone's turn. The 2 is Bezos. We'll watch his most recent race. First level allowance. He went off at a price, going 3/4 of a mile at Aqueduct, and it looks like he is home free at the 3/16 pole. He's opened up a clear lead, but he is getting tired, and he's going to lose by a nose. Bezos has been in pretty good form throughout most of his career, but I think the question concerning him is class. They ran him in the Fall Highway 2 starts back against Greeley and Ben, and Bezos showed speed that day. He tired very badly to finish last. If there are other speeds hounding him early, Bezos might be one to wilt. Drafted, on the other hand, likes to come from out of it. He is a true one-run closer, and he ran just fine last time out in the Bold Ruler back in late October. That was a race that seemed to suit Drafted the way it was run. It was a fast pace. Drafted settled into a nice position near the back of the pack. He didn't have to go too wide or encounter too much trouble on the turn. He got a nice split turning into the stretch, got to the outside with a look, and then trudged on evenly after being a little bit late to change leads. It was a useful performance for Drafted, a horse that seems to show up each and every time. If the pace is significantly slower, he can be close, but I think, considering this pace scenario, he'll likely try to make one run from the back of the pack. He was in tough against subsequent Breeders' Cup Sprint winner Elite Power 2-back in the 4-go 3-back. This is the sort of competition that Drafted relishes, and he's going to come with a good honest run in the lane. The number 4 is Synthesis, and we're going to watch his most recent start. This is a 3rd level allowance victory over Amundsen, another entrant in the Gravesend. Synthesis, I think, really appreciated the 7/8 of a mile in the video we're showing you right now, where Amundsen not so much. Amundsen had the lead. Synthesis, despite being 4 wide through the turn, is still able to wear him down. It was a good effort for Synthesis, who popped a career best 96 Beyer speed figure, but I do wonder if the 7/8 of a mile made all the difference, and now Synthesis has to cut back to 6, which might give it Amundsen a bit of an advantage in the rematch. The number 5 is is Smooth B, one of two in here trained by Butch Reed. He, of course, has entered Barron as well. Let's watch Smooth B's most recent victory, an allowance race at Parks going 6.5 furlongs. Smooth B got right up close to the pace on a track that seemed a little bit speed-friendly. He opened up at will, turning into the stretch, and he's just going to be able to hold them off at the wire. This is a really honest horse who is good at distances between 5 and 7 furlongs. He is an open stake, state-bred stakes winner at Parks, but he's been around for a very long time. The Butch Reed barn has been going great guns over the last several months or so, and some of these expected scratches are going to help Smooth B, a horse that likes to be up close to the pace and should be right there when the real racing commences. Let's talk a little bit more about Amundsen, a horse that we saw give it up going 7/8 last time, and just watching that race and not really even knowing the distance, you're saying that's a bad loss. He has the lead turning for home. Yes, he had to go fast to dispatch a pace horse, but he seemed to be moving very comfortably, while the horse that ran him down, Synthesis, was extremely wide and just blew it. But then you look at the distance, and I think 7 furlongs is just way too far for Amundsen. There were major concerns about the distance going into that race. He showed that he doesn't want 7. Now he cuts back to 6. He can get close to the pace, and he has run several good races on his page. Good enough to win a race like the Gravesend. Up next is Morello, and on natural ability alone, Morello might be the horse to beat. One of the major problems with Morello is he doesn't get out of the gate very well. Case in point, his most recent start, the Grade 2 Kelso, going a 1-turn mile at the end of October, where he stumbled at the start and then tried to get into it in a race that was won by a 42-1 shot. Morello's turning back to a sprint. I think that's his best game. He has won 3 of 4 starts sprinting and looked pretty good winning at Laurel off a little bit of a layoff 2 starts back. He handled Greeley and Ben, and that horse has come back to run very well in New York, including winning the fall highway. If Morello gets out of the gate in this spot, he's obviously very dangerous because he has the tactical speed, ability, and upside potential to thrive. It's all a question about how low you want to go on the tote. On the morning line, he has a very, very fair price. The question for Morello is, will he stay at those odds? Repo Rocks is the number 8. We're expecting him to withdraw. Barron is the number 9. Barron ran fine last time out at Parks. He finished 3rd that day. Showed speed down towards the inside. Was pressured all the way around by Twisted Ride. Got tired at the very end, finishing behind the closing Repo Rocks, who got the setup, and Twisted Ride, who might have just been better than Barron on that day. Barron is very, very honest. He loves a wet racetrack. You can upgrade him if it's there. Right now, it appears, though, that Barron might show up at Parks. Greeley and Ben is just a war horse you have to like. He's won 23 times in his career, and he's closing in on $900,000 in career earnings. Here's his win in the fall high weight last time out, and he got a perfect trip and ride under Manny Franco. He was able to save ground in mid-pack. The rail opens up. Greeley and Ben shoots on through while other horses have to go wider, but Greeley and Ben does dig down deep in the final 16th. He wins by a neck. He's now won 2 in a row. Not bad for a horse that was claimed for only $40,000 at Saratoga over the summer. Greeley and Ben is a hard hitter. He draws outside with the tactical speed to work out a trip. Talk about good trips. Here's Little Vic's last race, the City of Laurel, where they took him back off of the pace, was able to be in between horses on the turn, and Carlos Olivero made a great move at about the 5/16 pole, dropping down towards the inside when he saw the rail opened up, and Little Vic did the rest. Now, this is a field of 3-year-olds, so we'll be facing older horses in the Gravesend, but Little Vic has now won 2 in a row. He's paired up by her tops of 94, and he's so lightly raced that I think you could make a projection that this horse still has improvement in him. He does have the speed to lead or rate. He's in very good form right now. Twisted Ride, the 12, is expected to scratch. Before we get to my top selection, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRF video franchises. Top pick time for the Gravesend. I think you got to demand a little bit of value in this race. Little Vic did get a very good trip last time out at Laurel. Ground saving, shot on through along the rail. That's likely not going to happen from the far outside post in this race, but I've been taken with what I've seen from him in his last 2 races, and the fact that he was able to successfully show another dimension last time out, I think it gives him a very strong weapon. I'll go with a Little Vic in Friday's race of the day, the Gravesend. Good luck.